Hello! I'm going to show you how to make my mum's tatty soup. Firstly, you need quite a large pan because I'm going to use this beef stock to make 2 soups. So, 3 whole peeled onions, 1 carrot that I've only just scrubbed, not peeled, and 1 short rib of beef that I've had cut in half. So, first thing to do, this is something I learned on the TV just yesterday. Put your beef in, no water, no salt in the water, sorry. And bring it up to the boil. Roughly boil it for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll remove the beef and we'll pour that out. That helps to keep the stock kind of clear, so we'll come back once that's done. Right, so that's just come up to the boil for a couple of minutes. So all I'm going to do, take the beef out, just put it down the chopping board beside this cock and balls. And some of the scum in that, it just makes you get a clearer stock. You don't have to do that, I'm just doing it because the flow requires it. So I've got a kettle of boiled water, which is enough, but hey ho. Right, put them in there, put the beef back in. Oops, a daisy. And just a slight variation on my mother's. Just for the flow, I'm going to put 5 black peppercorns in there. All you do is you bring this up to boil again and then simmer it gently for a couple of hours. No salt, it's really important because the beef will go tough. That's all you put in there. If you want to put in a bay leaf or you want to put in thyme or anything, that's fine. I'm just going true to my mummy's recipe. So come back once I'm ready for the next stage.
Is that you got there, Robert?
It's a lovely 10-year-old Jura. Very nice if I say so. So we made the stock. Actually chilled the stock overnight. I removed the beef. It's gone firm. The beef should have just fallen off the bone. I removed the beef once it fell off the bone. I removed the onions and the carrot. I've put the onions back in because I need them. And I chilled that down, but I put the bones back in and I simmered that stock very gently for another 5 or 6 hours. The reason being, I'm making Vietnamese pho with the other half, so basically I've got that in the fridge. So, and then I couldn't be arsed cooking last night, which was the night of when we started this.
What did you have instead?
We had a council supper of mozzarella sticks and what did you call them?
Sweet potato fries.
Sweet tatty fries, man can.
It's not really council, is it?
Council as fuck up, man can. Right, so you'll see, get your stock, bring it back to the boil. Oh, that's a bit hot, so I'll just take that off. Got a baking tray with parchment. I've got the oven on at 200 because I'm going to make oatcakes. So put the beef to one side. Now in here I've got 6 tatties, well 5, cut. So peel 6 tatties about this size. Come in close so you can see. I'm sure people know how to cut, but cut the tatty in half lengthways. Pull the knife away carefully. Cut in half. Cut in half again. And then you want it to be a couple of millimetre thick. Now if this was a restaurant you would dice this perfectly. This isn't a restaurant, I don't care. Right, so just roughly cut them. So the reason I've got the tatties in there is because I don't like starchy thick soups, and this soup's going to be really thick with tatties. So give them a wash. Right. As much of the starch out as possible. Right, I can put this back on to boil. There you flipping beastie. Right. Loads of tatties. The reason I've left the onions whole is because that's how my mum does it and I quite like it like that. So, let that come to simmer. Grate a carrot. You can grate the carrot for your stock if you want to. I'm going to because we hate waste, but you don't have to. So you don't need to see me doing this, but you grate the carrot and put it in there and just gently simmer it and we'll come back, okay? So, once you've tidied up, you need to dry your chopping board. It's good if you've got a wooden chopping board. It doesn't matter if you don't. You can do it on a work surface, but this helps apparently. So, I've got my tatties and my carrots in there. So, I like a lot of pepper. Now bearing in mind this is just stock, so there's no salt in here at all. If you wanted to, you could make this with a stock cube, a beef stock cube, but really wouldn't recommend it. You could make this soup vegetarian if you really wanted to. It's just not the same. The beef really, it's kind of like a meal in itself. So a lot of pepper, and I'm not going to bother with fancy salt. I'm just going to put in some of this. Always under season your food, because you can always add more. Right, so that just sits in there. The beef it won't get added till later. I'm not going to use all that beef. I'll explain that later. Right, so I'll put this lid on. That's just going to be a gentle simmer. As with all soups, there's no point in boiling it. I mean, if you've got a pressure cooker, yeah, you can boil it. It'll cook it a bit quicker. But other than that, water doesn't go hotter than 100 Celsius. Maybe 101 or 2 with salt added. But by putting the lid on and just letting it simmer gently, the temperature's the same, it'll cook the same length of time. The only difference is if you're trying to reduce something, you'll put it on a higher heat because it'll evaporate quicker. Okay, I'll go and prep what I need for my oatcakes and come back. Oh God, trying to get these flaps open. Oh, right. You're going to want to screenshot this. Kate will put it on the recipe for a nice 10 seconds. I'll read it out. You need a pound of oatmeal, 2 tablespoons of melted dripping, bacon if possible, 1 teaspoonful of salt, some boiling water, it's not an exact amount, and a pinch of baking soda.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't need to make a pound's worth, so I am just going to measure out.
And what's special about that oatmeal?
This is vegan oatmeal. No, it's gluten free oatmeal. And it's from Oatmeal of Alford. Now, if you can get this in the shops or online, I can't recommend it high enough. I know you think oatmeal's oatmeal. No, really. This stuff's still made the traditional way with a water wheel. It's kiln dried. It's got a nutty taste. Oh. Right. Anyway, enough of my fawning over oatmeal. So I've got a block of beef drip in here. Got a pan on, warm, not boiling hot or anything like that. You can make this with other fat, olive oil, regular oil. This does make a big difference to the taste though. Okay, I'm just going to put that back in the tub. Right, and some boiling water. Probably won't need all of that, I can almost guarantee I won't. I'm going to put this out of the way. So, teaspoonful of salt for a pound. Okay, sprinkle it in. Just for something different, I'm going to put in black pepper. You can add cheese to this, I believe. Something hard like parmesan. But made with Tattie soup. And a pinch of bicarb. So give it a kern with your hands. Kern, for those not in the know, is a stir. Make a wee well. Now, get your hands in there. This is going to be hot, unsurprisingly, because I just used boiling water and I have just burnt my fingers. But it's okay, I've got asbestos hands, kind of, with fat on it. Okay, I'll just use a bloody spoon. Now, that's probably enough. Don't worry if you've added too much water to your mix. Keep stirring it away, keep stirring it away. Now I'm just going to keep stirring this away and come back in a wee second, okay? I'm going to tidy up, get my board clear. Right. Once the water's all been absorbed, and it's kind of warm enough that you can touch, so I've sprinkled a little bit in there. Now's when you need it, a little bit, roll it into a wee ball, or a big ball. Sprinkle some oatmeal onto your board. Right, so you need a bit of extra, and I've sprinkled some oatmeal into the baking tray. Right, you can get your hands clarted in this if you like. You can use a rolling pin if you like, probably easier. And just pat it out to the thickness that you like. Now traditionally this would be cooked on a girdle, which is Scots for griddle. So a flat cast iron girdle over an open flame, and you would just put the whole thing onto the girdle.
Is that where girders comes from?
I have no idea. I'm afraid. Aye. So just patting this down. Oh, it's got a lovely porridgey smell. Right, so I'm going to wash my hands. You don't have to do this, it's just I don't have much room and I don't want to make a mess. I'll come back once I'm ready to do the next stage. Right, so add a bit more oatmeal on the top, sprinkle it on. Right, so you get the desired thickness. You could use a cookie cutter, so you can cook cooking cookies in your cooker. Or if you've got it in rounds like this.
Is that the traditional way?
That is the very traditional way. Get a knife underneath and put it on. Upside down. Where you've got all your extra oatmeal. Oh, just tacht. Now these aren't going to expand, so you can put them closer together than you would for, say, cookie or shortbread. And there's no need to waste all this oatmeal. Gather it up in your hand, sprinkle it on the top. Should take about 20 minutes at 200 on a non-fan, 180 in a fan. Middle shelf. get tidied up and we'll come back once I'm wanting to come back.
Which is just tomorrow
Just
again?
about 20 minutes, roughly. So, soup's ready. Oatcakes took longer than I expected, but then I did make them thicker. I don't. Right, so I've switched the oven off, I've switched that off. I'm only going to use this much beef. I'm actually going to use this to make some pulled beef. Barbecue style.
Yeah? What about the pho?
Oh no, it's raw beef, it goes in pho, remember?
Oh, yeah.
I'll maybe put a little bit of that. Anyway. Get my knife. Get a chop up. You put it in cold, because the soup's hot enough. I like the fat, so that'll be my one. Right. Take these bad boys out of the oven. Now, if you like them well fired, just leave them in a bit longer. It's no exact time for cooking oatcakes. I've already broken into one just to see how they are. You let them cool, but and we'll come back in a wee second. Right. So give it a good stir. I've already tasted it and the seasoning is perfect. I didn't need to add any more salt and pepper to what I've already put in. See what I mean by thick with tatties? Oh. If you make a big pan of this, you can freeze some of it. That'll be enough.
Yeah, perfect. No, don't put mine in. I don't like soggy oatcakes.
Okay. There you go.
Alright.
Oatcakes, tatty soup. Happy crappy cooking.